In the previous videos, John Irwin presented his views on the role social-emotional learning should play in education. In this video, he will talk about the connection between SEL and character development. He will also describe the research that has been done about the positive effect social-emotional learning has on academic achievement. And now, Mr. Irwin.
Okay, so let's get into it. So again, as Daniel Goleman says, you know, there's this developmental window just for social-emotional growth, just as there is for language development. And by ignoring that and leaving it to chance, we're risking that window of opportunity of the slow maturation of the brain. And you know, I'm not saying that adults and older kids can't learn social-emotional skills, but it's easier at the younger levels. Okay, here's my other thing. This is what a lot of schools do. A lot of schools have these character education programs. Be responsible, be respectful, and they've got the posters all over the place, and they got student of the month, and they've got quotation of the day, you know, and it's all about being respectful and being responsible. I say, telling a kid to be responsible is about the same as saying to a kid, be literate, you know, just learn, just read. Be athletic. Oh, okay. You know. If you just tell me to do that and put some posters up, be literate, I'm going to do it. Well, in order to be literate, I need to know some stuff. I need to know what an alphabet is. I need to know what phonemes are, and I have to have phonemic awareness, and I'd be able to blend and chunk, you know, all that stuff. I need to be able to do those things in order to read. Same thing with kids being responsible. How can I be responsible if I don't believe deep down that everything I do is my choice? Then I can blame people. Oh, I didn't do it. He made me mad. That's why I did it. Oh, okay. I have rage disorder. It's okay that I murder people, you know. I can't control myself. I have ADHD. It's not my problem. I didn't take my medication. It's my mother's fault. She didn't give it to me this morning. So we blame everybody. ODD. Hey, I can't listen to you. I've got ODD. Any middle schooler in America could be diagnosed with ODD right now, today. Read the description. Anyway, so that's my thing. Telling somebody to be responsible, like saying, be athletic, be mathematical. 3 things are required to be a person of character, or to develop these social emotional skills: the head, the heart, and the hand. The head is the easiest. We can fill people's with information about how to be a responsible person, or what it means to be responsible, how to get along with others, how to, what empathy means and all that stuff. But without the heart and the hand, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be manifested. So the heart is having the desire. This is the what's in it for me. The kids have to have a whiffum, what's in it for me, in order to want to be a person of character, or be a person who has social emotional skills. That's a little harder, but it can still happen. I work with kids all the time. In fact, I've got a whole bunch of different student leadership groups that I'm working with, and this is not as hard as it may seem. The kids do want to be treated with respect, and they do want to treat other people with respect. They can see what's in it for them if you talk to them about it, and sometimes you can help them by just giving them some information about why it's important to behave responsibly and so forth. But it's important to get their input, their voice, because if you just lecture to them about being responsible, what they hear is the Charlie Brown adult. Wah, 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 wah. They've heard it before, so it has to come from them. And the hand is opportunities to use the knowledge and skills needed to be responsible. And I'll tell you, one of the best opportunities you can use is service learning. Where is my friend Catherine Berger Kay, so she could hear me say that. But service learning gives kids lots of opportunities to practice those social skills, but they get chances to practice that every day. Okay, I think you'd agree. Effective social emotional learning is essential to our own success. Therefore, it's going to be successful for our students' character development and their academic success. And here's the research. Where's Cassell? I want to show them that I'm using their research. When I was writing my book, well, after I put in the proposal for my book, the committee got back to me, and they said, well, and you can tell who's on the committee by the questions they ask. Do you have anything here that relates to technology? There's a techna guy on the committee. Where's the stuff for students with, that speak English as a second language? Oh, so there's a person that represents that's interest on the group. And then somebody said, well, where's the research that shows, and I think the whole committee wanted to know this, where's the research shows that there's a correlation between social emotional learning and test scores? I'm like, oh. Well, I'd heard about this study that was being done, and it was talked about for a couple of years before it actually came out. And it was the study that Castle did, the Collaborative for Academic Social Emotional Learning, big organization, and very academically scholarly, lots of good scholarly academic research that they do. And they did the biggest study of its kind ever done. They looked at over 300 research studies on the impact of social emotional learning on schools, and they found this meta-analysis that schools that participate in an effective school-based social emotional learning program improve significantly in respect to social and emotional skills. So you teach it to them, they actually do it, they demonstrate it. They improve their attitudes about themselves, about other people, their peers and teachers and school in general. Their behavior gets better. Conduct problems kind of disappear. Emotional distress is decreased, bless you, and here we go, achievement test scores and school grades improve on an average of 11 to 17 percentile points. That is huge. So an effective social emotional learning program is important. It's not just to put the posters on the wall, have an inspirational quotation, and student of the month. There's more to it than that. So it's actually teaching some stuff. So this is about teaching the foundational principles to students. And there are a couple of very basic foundational principles that all students need to understand in order to even begin a social emotional learning experience. Okay, so we'll talk about the benefits for the students, how to teach it, and make some curriculum connections. Okay, character objectives. There are character objectives, social emotional learning objectives, and then I have specific performance objectives listed later on. But this is a way of teaching personal responsibility other than saying be responsible. Teaching respect, compassion, optimism, and perseverance. And the social emotional learning objectives are self-awareness, awareness of others, and empathy. Okay. So we want kids to understand that all of us experience multiple influences. That every human being in the face of the earth faces adversity. Some more than others, but we all have problems, we all face difficulties. But within those influences that we face, within the environment we're in, we still have free will. B.F. Skinner was wrong. It's not beyond freedom and dignity, but within certain parameters, we do have choices. We always have free will. We have an internal locus of control. We have the ability to choose our behavior despite any of those influences and challenges. And every choice has a consequence. So those are just basic things kids need to know in order to begin the road toward becoming responsible. Okay. Now, we did some of these activities last time, so I'm going to just remind you of some of them as we go through. But this one we didn't. We all have 3 circles in our lives. The circle of adversity, all of us have problems, as I was saying. Some of those circles are darker and bigger than others, but we all face adversity. We also all face all sorts of influences. So some of my influences were, I grew up in New York State, for better or worse. I grew up in America. That's an influence. I had parents that were both educators. That's an influence. I had 3 big brothers who liked to beat up on me. That was an influence. They taught me how to run. So lots of influence. I could say I could use my heritage as an excuse or as an explanation of my behavior. I'm mostly Irish, so I must have to drink. No, or I could say I'm very, I've got a lot of Scottish in me too, so I'm thrifty or cheap. So I could use that as an influence. I'm tall and I used to be skinny. I'm tall and not heavy. I'm never going to be a power lifter, never going to be a professional power lifter. I'm just not built for it. I'm more of a runner, so that's why, it was good that my brothers taught me to run, because that was something I could do well. We all have influences in our lives. We all have adversity. At your tables, what I'd like you to do, again, with the reporter last time can pick out a new recorder. I'd like you to jot down, not on the big paper, just on just note paper, some of the kinds of adversity and influences our students experience. Maybe do like a T-chart. So something like this: influences, adversity. So adversity might be, you might have some kids from poverty. An influence might be teachers, positive teachers. Now some you'll find cross the line. Peers. Sometimes they're an influence, but sometimes create adversity. So you might have a few that cross the line, like the media, Media is both an influence and adversity. So if you'll just take a couple minutes and write down the kinds of influences and adversity your students face, those that you know about. So on your mark, get set, discuss.
Single family.
Not only single family, but grandparents.
Right.
There's some
I want to
grandparents.
say something about lack of a male influence.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our kids are being raised by a single parent
Yeah.
and no dad at home. Like,
No.
or
And I think you're
involved. Or involved. I mean,
In your front, it's just mostly I hear is mom or grandma.
right.
Or nanny.
Right.
To illiterate parents too.
Yeah, parents who don't value education,
They don't know about it.
Parents who are not literate,
Yeah.
they can't help them with the homework.
We did social studies already.
Well, and parents that are lacking in, they're so weak in their basic needs that they're not able to fulfill many of their own children's needs.
Okay. What are some of the kinds of influences students face? Influences. Just shout them out. Sports. Influence. What else? Their home life. That could cross the border, couldn't it? Okay. Home life, sports. Fears? Oh, peers. Oh, yeah, they're peers. Yes. Church. Video games. The internet. Scouting clubs. Yeah. Good influence.
The village, like it takes a village to raise.
The community. Yes, the village. Other influences. Music. Rap. I differentiate that between music and rap. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Old man. What else? Sports. Sports figures. Yes. K-Rod and J-Rod and L-Rod and L-Ron. Yes. Gangs. Huge influence. Television. How about adversity? What kinds of adversity do your students face? Poverty? Abuse? Parents in prison? Illness? Mental, learning disabilities, mental disabilities?
Poor nutrition,
Lack of sleep, poor nutrition,
Single-parent homes.
single-parent homes. I was just telling this table over here, my local middle school, some kids were just arrested for selling drugs. Not big news. Selling drugs for their parents. In the old days, the kids would come home with the fundraisers, and Dad would take it to the office. Now it's the opposite. Here, take these drugs and sell them to your friends at school. Can you imagine that? So, negative impulse. Other adversity the kids have to overcome. Yes? Parental age. Why did you bring that up to me? I have a 3-year-old. Hey, honey. Oh, the other way. I was going to say, when my daughter graduates from high school, I'll be 70. How old is he now? Quick math. Okay, but the other way around, yeah. And the grandparents raising the children. Okay. All right. Other kinds of adversity.
There's because I've heard through my kids, there's a pessimism about, will the world survive, the environment, everything is going, and it's not going to be there when I grow up, so what's the matter?
So what's the heck? That was going on when I was a kid. The world's going to be blown up during with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Why should we even bother? So, what happened to my generation? Not such a good thing. Tune in, turn on, and drop out. Yeah, that didn't pan out. Okay, so our kids are facing lots of adversity, and they know it, and they're facing lots of influences, and some of them know about some of those influences. But within those, what I want to teach kids is within the difficulties that we have in our lives, and we all have them, and the influences that we have in our lives, and we all have those, that we are in control. That we are in control. So we did this activity before, so we're going to come. There are genetic predispositions to talents, strengths, as well as challenges. So there's genetic influences, physical health, mental health, or not such, not health. Physical influences, body type, your overall health, your looks, your appearance, your physical strength. Those are influences. Cultural influences, where we grew up, our national, religious, our ancestral cultures, our home culture, our family culture, our neighborhood culture. Our social influences, our family, our friends, our education, a level of education. The media has a huge impact on us. The groups that we assign ourselves to be, belong to, or to which we naturally belong. Those are some of the influences. And then the adversity. There's lots of adversity. There's the big stuff, like the physical and mental illness. There's poverty, natural disasters, oppression, war, accidents, physical disabilities, and then emotional disabilities, discrimination, neglect, abuse, loss of loved ones, divorce is a thing a lot of kids struggle with, job loss, relationship issues, and then there's the day-to-day stuff. My car broke down, or we had a flood in our basement last night. Dad and Mom had a fight this morning. I got yelled at. I got a traffic. So, and fatigue, lack of parental care and that kind of stuff. So we all face a lot of adversity. All of our students do. We have to recognize that. They all face lots of influence. We have to recognize that. But then we have to teach them that within those circles, you are in control.
In the next video, Mr. Irwin will continue his focus on instructional approaches as he describes how to integrate SEL into an existing curriculum.